Edge designations, CFA Level 3 revision and exam program for the 2023 exam cycle. First and foremost, let me just introduce myself. My name is Russell Jude, and I will be taking you through the CFA Level 3 revision and exam program. The purpose of this particular video stroke presentation is twofold. Number one is I want to get the guys a little bit used to, number one is what you can expect in your exam from the CFA. What will your CFA Level 3 exam look like? I hope by now you have a fair sense of it. We'll go into a bit more detail today. And number two, what can we as Edge designations do for you to get you and to assist you in writing your CFA Level 3 exam? In order of preference, we can start, of course, off with number one, give them their credit as credit is due. So we'll start off with what the CFA exam is going to look like. A couple changes for 2023 over and above 2022. In that, in my mind, two major changes I think have happened in terms of your CFA Level 3 exam. Number one, okay, is there's been a bit more standardization, which is lovely to see. In other words, no matter what you're doing, okay, whether we all know, of course, that the CFA Level 3 exam is comprised of constructed response questions. We'll talk about those in a second, as well as MCQs. There's a nice mix between those two. What we've got now is a lovely level of standardization in that it's 12 marks per question. No matter what you do, whether you're writing a constructive response question, okay, or it's an MCQ question, they are worth 12 marks. Okay, nice and simple. We'll talk a little bit about each one as we go, how they arrive at those particular marks, how those are made up. But it's, number one, I think the CFA have done a wonderful job. Not that they're looking for my approbation, but I do think it's a fantastic job and well done on the just the level of standardization over there. Number one. Number two is, for the first time, we now find that in every exam, okay, because remember, of course, guys, we do write two exams. There is going to be an exam session number one and then exam session number two. In the past, it used to be the AM and the PM session. For those that have perhaps been in the system a little bit longer, that's when it was PBT, paper-based testing. Now, of course, we've moved towards computer-based testing. But even last year, when the exam was computer-based, okay, exam session one was comprised of constructed response only. Exam session two comprised MCQs only. And that always presents a little bit of a challenge, because often the candidates come out, and I even had one candidate that was so bold as to tell me they battled a little bit, both in terms of the content as well as the timing on the constructed response part of the paper, but they were convinced that they got 100% on the MCQs and they finished 20 minutes early. So they failed, by the way. Anyway, what we're seeing over here, okay, is that in general our experience has been that construct response, generally the candidates battle more with that, number one, and it does take up a little more time. Not so, of course, for the MCQs. What they've now done, okay, is they've mixed them together in one paper. Okay, so when you come and write exam session number one, what you're going to find, okay, guys, is you can have 6 questions on constructed response and 5 on MCQs. And that picture, to some extent, will reverse itself. Yes, so when you do exam session number 2, you'll have 5 constructed response questions and 6 MCQs. A total of, if you add them all up, of course, guys, there will be, between both papers, 11 constructed response questions altogether, times 12 marks, and 11 MCQ questions between the 2 exam sessions, times 12 marks, and 132 marks overall for both. And what's interesting, it's 132 marks for between each paper. We've now got the breakdown a little bit different than we had in the past, and it's 132 minutes as well. So kind of like a mark a minute. Okay. Let's have a quick look at exam session 1. Let's just say, for example, that this is going to be its breakdown. 6 constructed response questions, okay, followed by 5 MCQs. The constructed response questions are 12 marks per question. 12 times 6 will give you 72 minutes, as well as, by the way, 72 minutes, 72 marks. Okay, and then you've got your MCQs there as well. Okay, 12, 5 MCQs times 12 marks. There your total becomes 60 minutes, and a total of 132 minutes as well. Okay, so you can quite easily see the breakdown now between exam session 1 and 2, and I think it's a fantastic and it's a lovely addition that they are putting both constructed response and MCQs into the same exam. Okay, I think it's wonderful, as well as the standardization. Now we know no matter what question you're doing, you can be rest assured that that question, be it constructed response, be it MCQ, is going to be worth 12 marks. Okay, a quick look at what is constructed response. Okay, I'm sure by now you guys are quite familiar with constructed response, but looking at what is constructed response is exactly what those words tell you. It is a constructed response to what is being asked. It's not an essay. I know everybody likes to call it essays, and I try and move as much as I can in our classes away from that concept of essays, that they're not essays. It's a constructed response, a specific response to each question. Okay. And the reason we know that it's not essays is because, for example, within one constructed response question, I'm just going to go down here to the bottom of the page where we've got a little bit of room. What you often find within each constructed response question, let's say, for example, question number 1 of your exam is a constructed response question. What you'll often find is that that constructed response question, we also know, by the way, guys, that it's worth 12 marks, 12 minutes, 12 marks. And what you'll often find is that it's broken down, let's say, for example, into 4 parts, could even be 5. There might be an A, a B, a C, and a D. Having said that, now you're going to take your 12 marks and divide it by 4 parts. Well, now it becomes 3 marks essentially per question. Quite clearly, these are not essays. These are specific responses, answers, direct answers to what is being required. As you go through our material, I'll show you what we have available for you from Edge towards the end of this presentation. I stress extensively, okay, that it's not essays, and the less that you write, for the most part, but you answer the question in a very pointed manner, you answer what was asked, generally those guys are going to get the best marks. Okay, a lot of people, battle with time in constructed response. I'm not saying that it's easy, but what I am saying is that you do have time, and often the guys that are battling are writing too much. Okay, this is not an essay. Okay. We move on just a little bit over here, guys. Okay, and in terms of constructed response, often you will get a story, often what they call a vignette, and followed by several questions. The questions can be calculation based, they can be word based. Okay, and very important, it's a mark a minute. Do you have to work quickly for constructed response? Yes, you do. Okay, can you finish? Of course you can. Okay, and we've got a specific program at Edge that we've designed specifically, and that's what I do with the guys predominantly for most of the live sessions that we have together, is we just practice our writing, really. Okay. You've got multiple choice here as well, guys. Okay. In terms of MCQs, okay, what we've got over here is it's a vignette followed by 4 multiple choice questions. And by the way, that should look very familiar to you coming up from CFA level 2. You've seen those before. What's interesting, of course, guys, okay, so there's your story. They call the story a vignette. There will be a 4 parts, 4 multiple choice questions. 1, 2, 3, 4. What do we know about those 4 multiple choice questions? We know that in total they are worth 12 marks, equals 3 marks per MCQ. Okay, so it's actually quite fantastic what CFA have done for us. Everything's become standardized now. We can see exactly how the 132 minutes of your exam is comprised. We can see where the marks are coming from. Everything fits in so beautifully. Okay, just a little question that we sometimes get asked. I'm just going to handle 2 points in this respect. Which topics are covered in exam session 1 and versus exam session 2? All topics are covered in each section. So yes, there's no nothing specific, like unlike CFA level 1, going back a few years for you guys at least, where specific sections were covered in specific papers. Not so for you over here. Another question that a lot of guys ask us, and I'm going to relate it to what I'm going to show you over the page, is are there specific topics handled only in MCQs? Like, for example, ethics. Does ethics only come up in MCQs and never in constructed response? Does private wealth only always come up in constructed response? And the answer to that is no. Okay, CFA level 3 have told us very clearly there's no rules. Okay, when I say there's no rules, nothing has to be anywhere at any point in time. So yes, they can ask anything, anywhere. Okay, and based on that, I want to move on over here to your exam weightings. Okay, when we look at the exam weightings over here, guys, this is some interesting things. I'm sure you've noticed this by now. Okay, I'm hoping. Okay, there's no quants in level 3. There's no financial statement analysis in level 3, and corporate issuers goes away as well. What takes up a lot of the room over here, guys, as per usual, ethics makes up 10 to 15%. That's a big weighting over there. Economics, okay. Capital market expectations, that's the section on economics, makes up between 5 to 10. As usual, we've got our asset classes, but what do you find interesting about your 4 different asset classes? Yes, as in the other levels as well, alts and derivatives gets the smallest weighting. Remember, of course, guys, that included in derivatives, we have got currency management in there as well. Okay. Then you've got, okay, equity and fixed income left. And what's interesting is that fixed income carries the greatest weighting of all of the asset classes, 15 to 20, whereas equities 10 to 15. What's interesting about all of these asset classes, and you may say to yourself, hold on a second, I've done these 4 asset classes in level 1. In level 2, how do they change in level 3? Well, level 3, they all become quite strategic. So what you notice is it's fixed income strategy. You now are designing portfolios, strategic, looking at things, etc. Okay. And then Portman, which is small-ish weightings at the various levels, level 1, level 2, now takes up a massive weighting, 35 to 40%. Some of the big topics over here, guys, is behavioral finance. We also look over here at private wealth. We also look over here at institutional asset investors, etc. Okay, so it's not really just portfolio management. There's a lot of new topics over here in CFA level 3 that perhaps you may not have seen in the earlier levels, albeit, of course, that what's interesting in the CFA level 1 syllabus, they have now introduced biases, which is a lovely addition. Okay, used to be level 3, they put that now back into CFA level 1. Okay. Let's have a quick look at the exam times. When do you write? Okay, those guys write. There's only 2 times to write in 2023. You got your Feb window, 21 Feb to 23 Feb. Okay, and you got your August window, 29 August to 5 September. Those are your 2 times to write. Of course, guys, the syllabus will remain the same from for both of those exam windows. Of course, no need to tell you this. You guys know this well. I'd be wasting your time, but I'll tell you anyway. Texas Instrument or HP12C, those are the only 2 calculators, of course, that are allowed. Okay, and just to conclude this presentation with what Edge as a prep provider to the CFA Institute can do for you. Okay, we've got our various options at this late juncture. Okay, option 1 and 2 are probably not going to be of much interest. Sorry, only option 1. Let me backtrack that a little bit. Option number 1, which is the online program, which is a comprehensive set of notes covering the entire syllabus, videos on the entire syllabus, formula sheets and question banks, probably of less interest to you because by this point, most people, if you are watching this as a revision video, are in the state that they are ready to do revision and they've gone through the material one time already. Option number 2 is a lovely one which a lot of guys take up, which is the revision and exam program. It's got comprehensive revision notes. Of course, these notes that we speak about in the revision section are much more summarized in the notes in the online program, because as they are revision notes, we take you through the whole syllabus again, and about 24 hours worth of YouTube video that will give you the entire CFA Level 3 syllabus in summarized version. You get a formula sheet and you get 3 exams on the new QBank. Of course, when we say exams on the QBank, that's the same thing over there, guys, then as option 5, which you can just buy as a standalone exams. But always remember that we do not mark the constructed response sections for you via computer, because I haven't yet met maybe this new chat GPT AI type program will be able to mark it adequately for you, but at this point we don't have a system that can adequately mark it for you. So what we do is we break our exam down into 2 components for you. Component number 1 is the MCQs, and yes, of course, that we put on our electronic platform for you and mark it for you and give you the solutions there. The second component is the constructed response section, which we give it to you in a slightly different format. You mark that yourself. We give you a detailed mark plan, so you are able to see exactly where you went right, where you went wrong. Okay. Option 3, for those that are interested, this becomes a little bit now more a la carte for those that want. You've got a question bank. Okay. And option number 4 is just a complete set of notes on the entire syllabus if you would like that. Okay, that then brings me to a conclusion of our presentation for you here on the revision and exam program. We've gone through, to some extent, of course, what is available to you over there in terms of what you can expect in your exam. We've also had a look at what Edge can provide for you. I will just leave you over here with my email address. It's russellj@ebs.co.za. Should you wish to make contact, ask any questions, have any queries, with pleasure we should be able to assist you. As we conclude, a lot of lecturers will wish you best of luck. I don't think that's the right term. I wish you best of success, most amounts of success, great success, but luck you don't need. Okay, maybe a bit of good fortune that the sections that you've studied come up, or things like that, but luck you don't need. You just need a little bit of, we wish you success. If you studied well, you will get through this. Best of success for your exam, and hopefully we'll see you on the other side.